Welcome, everybody, to the latest episode of CCIR Student Spotlight. The Student Spotlight series is a chance for us to really showcase some of the work that our students have been doing. And today it's my pleasure to invite Saif, a student from the STEM High School in Giza, Egypt, who participated over the past Future Scholar session in the mathematical logic course with Dr. Owen Griffith from the philosophy department at Cambridge. For his final project in the mathematical logic course, Saif produced a final paper on the nature of mathematics, which explored the question of the objectivity and subjectivity of mathematics and looked specifically at abstraction within the understanding of logic. So I'm sure Saif will have a lot more to tell us about what that all means. But first things first, welcome, Saif, and thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
So Saif, I gave you a brief intro, but I think it'd be really helpful if you told us a little bit about who you are and sort of what your academic interests are, especially with respect to this area of logic and mathematics and philosophy.
Yeah, so hey, I'm Saif Ahmed. I'm from STEM High School for boys from Egypt. I'm 17 years old, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm glad to share some aspects about CCIR and my research experience, which is a mathematical logic course. So I'm interested in mathematics and physics, and I actually have been harboring my potential by studying lots of mathematics books, and it gave me an introduction about how should we think of mathematics. This was the aim of mathematical logic course. And my course actually intended to broaden my thinking parameters to engage in a complex and advanced research that really would influence your how you think, how do you think of mathematics without actually exploring the advanced concepts of it, like what is mathematics basically. And I found actually CCIR is would be like an unparalleled opportunity to dive deep into my academic interest, mathematical logic. And about my research title, it was the mathematical logic. It was a nature of mathematics, its objectivity, subjectivity, and abstraction, and it's just with understanding of logic. So in this paper, I discussed the truths of mathematics in terms of logic. I discussed the idea of something called Platonic heaven and Gödel's incompleteness theorems, and I use these two kind of concepts to help me establish the answer for my argument, which is whether mathematics is abstract, subjective, or objective, or all of them. So I argued that mathematics is an abstract, subjective representation of objectively existing non-physical and non-mental objects that are independent of us, like humans. I explained the nature of mathematics while highlighting some important mathematical concepts and theories. And I also argued that we discovered mathematics, which is a question that have lots of debate around it, and that mathematics, the mathematics that the logic of the universe, but we invented numbers and math itself, the mathematical expressions, to understand it. So this was a brief introduction about the project.
Cool. And my understanding is that you took this course with Dr. Griffith from the Cambridge philosophy department. And could you tell me a little bit about sort of how this course unfolded and the process by which you eventually have reached this research topic?
Yeah, so we started by taking some lectures with Dr. Owen Griffith about some kind of simple logic and mathematical logic. So just to understand what is mathematical logic, It's just basically the logic within mathematics. So in the course, I learned about the fundamental principles of thinking and reasoning. And I dive deep into many logical systems and concepts in the course. And we even explored how mathematics philosophy can be combined together in one field. So, for example, my professor introduced me to set theory, the study of sets, in the first two lectures. And he also gave us some materials and resources to study it. So after studying the book of set theory, I had some knowledge about what's going to be in the course and how I actually gonna deal with the samples and some complex stuff in the set theory. And then after, in some point, we started to take kind of homework, which is basically supervised by the teaching assistant, Professor Alex Fisher. So it was 2 classes in the week. And then in the first 4 to 5 weeks, we started just having homework about what we have studied after the lecture by the Dr. Owen Graffs. And then Professor Alex Fisher goes through some discussions about our solutions to the homework, and discuss we dived into some creative reasoning systems that we didn't know before. And then in the last 7 or 8 weeks, I guess, we started working our research paper. We started by some discussions about what are potential research fields or research titles we will go through, the arguments, and it was amazing, the mentorship by Professor Alex Fisher. He made us think creatively and and he made me actually interested in what is mathematics by asking questions about the independent reality of mathematics. And so that's why I actually chose this kind of topic with Professor Alex Fisher. Yeah, and at the end, in these kind of 7 weeks, the Professor Alex Fisher started to go through the writings. He taught us how to make the simple and complex methods of making conducting a research paper, how to write it, and how to organize references and the stuff of making a research paper. And then yeah, it came up to a good research paper with a good argument, well written academically. And he also went through some scientific base about the paper itself, and not only the writing. So yeah, it was an amazing mentorship.
So tell me a little bit about sort of your background coming into this. So for instance, did you know anything about the philosophy of mathematics? Were you interested in philosophy, or was this really something that you discovered through this course?
I actually had some kind of background about mathematical logic. That was the questions I asked when I was first exploring and studying mathematics books, advanced one for the Olympiad. And so I started thinking about the mathematicians' opinions about how did we invent mathematics, or what was even mathematics, you know. And I actually searched for some mathematicians' opinions like Wegener and Aristotle, which was different about from Platonists. So just to name few, so Aristotle's opinions was that mathematics is an invented logic, having no reality outside the mankind of thought. And he actually said that that we see mathematics in our life. For example, that if we see like 3 cards or 3 pens, so we know that there is a number called 3, and this is math. But Platonists are good that argued that if we have like any kind of mathematical expression, it's actually not exist between us, but it's actually exists in another non-physical and non-mental world called the Platonic heaven, which is a realm that mathematical objects may not exist independently of our own. And this was my first like introduction for mathematical logic before going to CCIR. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about, so one of the goals of, I would say, philosophical education is to really get students to learn how to think critically and to spot what's a good argument, to question their own assumptions, and so on. How do you think this course has helped you in those dimensions of your thinking?
Yeah, so the course was mainly about reasoning and understanding some kind of logic systems. So it helped me think creatively. I was like, out of the box. Mathematical logic helped me like widen my thinking limits. It broadened my thinking parameters to actually influence and help in community issues. So finding relationships between different situations, for example, helping me understand from different points of view, and using logic reasoning helped me analyze like community problems, as I said, and advance my way to choose which is the best approach to solve a problem, while it's just that it advanced my my skills in thinking and reasoning. Yeah, and it's just to find the best approach. So yeah.
And when you say community problems, what are you thinking about specifically?
Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe people's problems, like you can say air pollutions, we can say the airplane noise, just kind of like research fields that we have to dive deep into. And when we think of using mathematical logic into such fields, we are just like intending to use the best materials, the best for the best cost, and to be the most efficiently. So here we can think just how to find the best approach to solve air pollution, or to solve the noises, or maybe the technical issues in airplanes. All of this stuff actually is a way to use mathematical logic. Yeah.
That's really great to hear, because one of the complaints actually you hear sometimes, I studied mathematical logic in undergraduate, and one complaint you actually hear is that it's difficult to apply to everyday life. So it's very, very interesting that you had the opposite experience almost. Okay, so I want to just move slightly away from the domain of sort of your specific interests in research and in mathematics, and talk a little bit more now about your mentorship experience with Alex and with Owen. Because the way we like to think about how the teaching in CCIR is done is that our teachers aren't just teachers, they're really mentors, in the sense that they provide sort of an example for you that goes beyond just transferring knowledge. Could you speak a little bit about your mentorship experience and how that figured in the whole course of your learning?
Yeah, sure. So conducting an independent research paper was something like truly unparalleled. I went beyond the high school classes and advanced my academics, and by researching and reviewing lots of books and journals and journal papers. So it fosters my scientific background to be like to be further prepared to be to help in the world, the scientific world, and being mentored by like leading professors like Professor Alex Fisher and Dr. Crafts. It was like just an outstanding way to outstanding tool to really help me be prepared for the scientific changes, scientific world. So the mentorship itself was just about lectures and helping you think, questioning, and the way you just discuss in an environment, like lively environment, with respect about problems, about something that you don't know, or actually like discussing your research, argument with your classmates, right? It was something actually like beyond what I expected, because it's just not just like the normal way we're doing in high school classes. We actually like write and we do like some kind of discussion groups and all of these things with mentorship from professors who are like very really welcoming to questions and to be like present your ideas. Actually, in the end of the mentorship itself, there was a presentation in front of the professor, Dr. Graffs. So we prepare ourselves to speak, and it helps us like advance our the communication skills, presentation skills. So this way, what really makes the mentorship itself really unparalleled, specifically in CCIR.
That's so wonderful to hear. So as we're sort of wrapping up this interview, I want to ask you one last question, which is, what is something that you would say to a student who's maybe considering embarking upon a research experience? How has this experience helped you grow? And what would you say to someone who's sort of just thinking about this at this moment?
So I can say, just go ahead and take, like choose the academic interests you want, and take the course that if you're really interested in. And I think CCIR is such an amazing opportunity that covers lots of academic interests in various fields, not only mathematical logic, mentored by outstanding professors from like global universities. So I think choose your academic interest and study well in the course, like analyze books and research papers, have your scientific base ready, and just be proficient. The process itself will change your kind of thinking about research itself. Like you'll be able to write professionally academic English, and you will study how to make like research paper methods. The professors will review your paper holistically, not just academic writing, and the overall experience, the challenges you will go through, the pressure, it will actually change your mindset to be a very good person, both in scientific world and non-scientific world. Yeah, so I would say just choose your academic interest carefully and go for it. Yeah.
Nice. I would say that's a great piece of advice. And I think from your experience, it's also worth noting that sometimes you don't even know what your academic interests are yet. And part of this is just about exploring. In your specific case, your background in mathematics led you here suddenly to consider issues in the philosophy of mathematics, which is related but not entirely the same thing. So we're really trying to encourage this type of exploration, and it's so wonderful to hear that was exactly your experience. So on that note, I guess I just want to say thank you so much today for your time, Saif. it's really heartening to hear that you had such a wonderful experience at with Dr. Griffith at CCIR.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I'm glad to be like having such amazing opportunities in CCIR.